About 18 months ago, Boise State athletics cut two sports, men's baseball and women's swimming and diving. At the moment, the university is conducting a Title IX assessment, and while that is ongoing, athletic director Jeremiah Dickey anticipates adding a sport in the future.
I know that Boise State right now is, analyzing and going a little further into their to Title IX. What is kind of going into that work right now, and what might you expect to hear at this point in time?
Well, one, and I think you and I talked about this before, the assessment has started. The goal was to start it in the fall, and initially it was to try to finish it along with the facility assessment in December. Between COVID and scheduling and some of the other things, we've had to push that timeline a little bit, and I'm not concerned about that. One of the things that we need to wait on is in the enrollment numbers of the spring and what that looks like. And so we won't know that until we see what track and field and other sport programs in the spring, their rosters. And so that's probably going to be in February. And what goes into that is a number of things, where we're at from a financial standpoint and budget in terms of how we're supporting our sport programs, from a facility side, what one locker room looks like versus another. My hope coming out of this Title IX assessment is that we're going to, have a good idea of how it ties into this What's Next initiative, and if we need to add a sport, what does that look like, and how do we accommodate that sport?
If you did have to add a sport, would you anticipate it probably being a women's sport? And I mean, we all know that there's being progress made on a state-of-the-art swimming facility, and that was a sport that you guys recently had to cut. So would that tie into the factors of a potential decision at all?
Based on the numbers and what I'm seeing, I do think that we are going to have to add another sport, and I do think it would need to be a female sport. My job is to do what's in the best interest of this institution and make sure that we have our ducks in a row and have an understanding and a plan of how we're going to move forward. And so you look at swimming, and does that help? Like our facility, it was not up to the standard. So having that, the new natatorium in town, and the great work that those guys are doing and how it's going to support the community, like that could be a natural fit, but there's a lot that goes into that. Like I said before, how many student athletes, how does it impact staff? It impacts communications, it impacts creative. It's that much more that we would need to really have a good understanding and idea of how we build onto our team to support, and how we're, tying back into the community and what the community would embrace. And so those are all things that will ultimately make a very difficult decision, but that's where I'm trying to get all the data and the information to allow me that opportunity to do what's best for this institution and our students and those that we serve.